Okay, hello everybody. I'm back, and today we are keep going on our first World War topic. So in our last topic, we already talked about the weapons and about the navy. So today we are going to talk about another thing that I think most of you guys are not thinking about. Yes, that about version. We already see about the development of the weapons causing the destruction for the world. We already see about the plans, which is very complicated so that they could take the enemies into the trap. But we never thought on something that is more important, which is also very simple. That is, where is the amount of the soldiers that both sides have so that they could keep fighting for over years to years. We hardly see these things through the story until we see it by our eyes. But yeah, it's very hard to see something that happened, or you could say it's impossible to see something that already happened in the past by our eyes. So today we are going to talk about the way that governments taking the men from the colonies or their own country to the army so that they could prepare for the war with the development of the weapons and also with the plans. The soldiers were always the things that make the plans work and is the user of the weapons. So the European powers has spent the years expanding and trying to modernizing their weapons, but most of them are not finished when the fighting broke out. As the death toll in the trenches mounted, thousands more soldiers were sent to the front. But where does that soldiers come from? So some of them are come from colonies. Some of them are come from the own countries of that government. And of course, in those soldiers, some of them were battle-hardened professionals. Some of them are a very good expert about plans and about trap. But for many others, this may be their first taste of blood and their first time fighting at a real battlefield. So, by 1914, many young men in Europe were required to serve a short period of military service known as conscription. So conscription is a rule of, a law of the government that some government usually had with their citizens. That means when they are at the age that the government wants, so they will get a required to join the military for some time, maybe a month, maybe a few years, or maybe more, or maybe less. But that's not important. So after all, the construction, which means that the conscription is the things that require men who is old enough to join the military for a time, and after they pass the time, they will go out the military again. So this meant that countries like Germany and France already had reserve of trained soldiers to call on when the war broke out. So for some people who don't understand why is the German and British inside this part, so I must remind you that they are part of Europe. Okay, so it began the war with a force of 4,500,000 men. The Germany already gained a lot of advantage from its ways of taking and requiring people to join the military, and of course all of them are fully equipped. In the first week of the war, the French also called up reserve troops and fighters to the number 4,071 troops. So the way that they call the soldiers and call the men in their colonies or their own countries to join the militaries is very simple, but of course efficient. So the first thing is about the thinking, about the thought that the generals of the military already know through their experience and through the knowledge that the man, which is the boy or people in the countries, or you could say the male, is hardly paying attention to submission if those missions don't have a meaning to them. And in military, the best mission that having the most means to the soldiers is that they could fight along their friends, their brothers, or their close one. So by the time the war break out, Britain didn't have conscription, and his army was smaller than that of France. But Lord Kitchener, Secretary of State of War, needed to raise a new army, so he quickly has required men to join the military. He knew men would be more likely to sign up if they could train and fight belong their friends or their brothers, so that he set up, let's say, a setting, call it bonds battalion, which means that they have a group of men inside a city, in a country, or maybe just inside a village together and become a team, which means that he made a setting so that the soldiers always have the opportunity to fight alongside of their close friends, of their opponents, and of their rivals sometimes, of course. But that things make the men have more motivation to fight and train. Okay, and also he relied heavily on colonial troops. Within just 2 months, a spectacular, let's say, a spectacular amount of men, which is exactly 760,000 men, had answered the call and signed up to join the military of Britain. And soldiers on both sides were equipped with much, let's say, a lot of weapons, and also a same basic kit to take to the front. So at this time the development of the weapons are not so strong, so that the equipment and also about the kit for the soldiers to go to the front line is at the same as every side. It's not having so many different. And in the late 19th century, the British Army had replaced its traditional scarlet with a less conspicuous khaki brown. So this thing is about the uniforms. So one fun fact, or you could say one fact for you guys to know, that is, even when the kit of the soldiers are the same, but the uniform is different, because they always have their own colors, their own pattern, and their own names on their uniform, so that they could know where is enemies and where is allies. Okay, so Germany and Russia stood up from mid-shade too. The French marched to war in red trousers, making them easy to target at the Battle of Marne. After that, they adopted a dual blue. Despite this change, some troops and some countries still keep their traditional patterns and their traditional colors on their uniforms, sometimes turn into the disaster, because it's caused them to be, it's make them become easy target, because their colors is so bright or so dark, so that people could notice them easily in the light or in the dark jungle. Depend on what color they are. And even where there was a conscription, governments went to great lengths to encourage young men to join the groups. Instead of using the conscription as a tool to force men to join the groups, they usually use both tools. Use both things, that is the conscription and the encourage from the government to the men. So they're attacking the mental, okay, the man mental, and say that a young man, a brave one, should join the military. We need you to protect our own nation. This is the duty of every bravery people. And of course, they use a lot of words so that they could describe how good and how right a man, that the man who joined the military is. And also they use women as another tool. Of course, they're not using them as like that kind of tools, but they are using the report, the information, and the speech, the speaker, to attacking, or you could say encouraging women, so that they could tell their husband, their brother, their friends, or maybe their boyfriend, anyone or whoever they are. The woman will get the encourage from the government to tell the men to join the military. For example, the government could tell the woman that you should feeling the shame when your men don't went to the military. don't join the army, don't fight for his nation. He's a coward. He not deserve for the goods and the thing that the country serve for him. Yeah, that is an example. And some men known as consensus objectors refused to fight because it was against their moral belief or because they have their own religious belief. But both of them, whoever they are, and whatever their belief is, as long as they're not joining the military, the government, and of course they say, I don't know how to talk about these words, but for a simple explanation I could talk is like the speaker. Okay, the speaker and also the TVs, the reporter will tell or will talk about the men who will refuse to join the military whenever they made or just committed a crime, even when that crime is not that bad. They're still using some words to bring the serious level of the crime to the next level, being higher, more serious, look like it's the man, like make the man looks like devil, and also make them looks very bad. And also when they talk about those men, they call them cowards because of quitting joining the protection of the country. Yeah, so you could see is that all over the world there is a lot of way to make someone doing something, but the most effective way is that you create anger or create shameless or creating a fear inside them so that you could force them to join them. So the most important things that you know what is the feelings that your men need. For example, as I said, fear, anger, same is the things that create a person who want to do something. But sometimes the determination of fighting along their friends could be a motivation too. So that means we need to use a lot of ways, mix them together to create the best effective way so that we could make the men, or you could just say that make the people in our country sign up to join the militaries. And that's what exactly the countries in the First World War did. They tried to encourage the men to join the military, and of course using the reporter, using the woman in the country to tell the men that they are cowards if they quit joining the military, or try to encourage them more so that they have the determination to join the military whatever they plan to do, even when they want to join to fight along the friends or just because they love their families and their families told them to do so. Okay, so after all, there's a lot of ways that the countries in the First World War, which is in 1914, used to make the men join the military. And of course, that's why they have the huge amount of soldiers. And that's also why the destruction of the war is so big, because it's causing so many deaths. Okay, so that's all I want to say with you guys today. Thank you for listening, and yep, I'll see you guys in my next video. And now I think it's time for us to say goodbye then. See ya, my viewers.